Hello, beautiful listeners, and welcome back to Green Earth Essentials, the podcast where we dive into practical ways to live more sustainably and mindfully. I'm your host, Michelle Jackson, and today we're tackling a topic that's more important than ever: greenwashing. You've probably seen brands claiming to be eco-friendly, natural, or sustainable. But how many of those claims are actually true? Greenwashing is when companies make misleading environmental claims to appear more sustainable than they really are. It's a marketing tactic that tricks well-meaning consumers into buying products that might not be as green as they seem. Today, we'll break down how to recognize greenwashing, how to identify products that are genuinely eco-friendly, and what we as consumers can do to push for real sustainability. Let's start with a definition. The term greenwashing was first coined in the 1980s, and it describes when companies exaggerate or falsely advertise their environmental efforts. It happens in every industry, from beauty and fashion to food and even household products. One classic example is when a company labels a product as biodegradable without any real evidence of how or where it breaks down. Another is when oil companies promote their investments in renewable energy while still spending billions on fossil fuels. One infamous case was when Volkswagen, the car manufacturer, was caught cheating emissions tests. They marketed their vehicles as low emission and eco-friendly, but in reality, they were producing significantly more pollution than claimed. That's greenwashing in action. Companies making sustainability claims that don't hold up under scrutiny. So, why does this matter? Because misleading marketing slows real environmental progress. If consumers believe they're making sustainable choices but are actually being deceived, companies have no real incentive to change. Now that we know what greenwashing is, let's talk about how to spot it. There are several key tactics that companies use to make their products seem greener than they actually are. First, vague language. Words like natural, eco-friendly, and green sound great, but they don't actually have any legal or standardized definition. A product could be labeled natural and still contain harmful chemicals. Second, lack of proof. If a company makes claims about being sustainable but doesn't provide certifications or third-party verification, that's a red flag. Look for genuine eco-certifications like USDA Organic, Fair Trade, Forest Stewardship Council, and B Corp certification. These organizations verify that products meet strict sustainability criteria. Third, misleading imagery. Have you ever noticed that some brands use earthy colors, images of leaves, or wildlife on their packaging to make their products look eco-friendly? That's often just design, not a reflection of real sustainability efforts. Another trick is hidden trade-offs. A company might advertise that their product is made from recycled materials, but they don't mention that their factories pollute local water sources. A truly sustainable brand looks at the whole life cycle of a product, not just one green aspect. Greenwashing isn't just about misleading labels, it's also about psychology. Companies use emotional appeals, nature imagery, and feel-good messaging to make consumers believe their products are more eco-friendly than they really are. Advertisements often feature lush green landscapes, flowing water, and happy animals to create an association with nature, even if the product itself has a significant environmental impact. The language used in marketing, words like pure, natural, and eco-conscious, is designed to evoke trust, even when these claims lack real substance. A key psychological factor at play is the halo effect, where a single positive attribute can make people assume an entire product is sustainable. For example, a company may highlight that their packaging is recyclable, leading consumers to overlook the fact that the product inside is made using harmful chemicals or unethical labor practices. Similarly, brands that emphasize carbon offsets may distract from the pollution and waste they generate in the first place. Marketing tactics can strongly influence purchasing decisions, often playing on guilt, optimism, or a desire to make ethical choices. This is why it's essential to remain a critical thinker when shopping, rather than relying on emotional appeals or vague claims. Take a moment to research the company, verify third-party certifications, and consider the full life cycle of a product. The more informed consumers become, the harder it is for brands to get away with greenwashing. In today's digital world, social media influencers and celebrities have a massive impact on consumer behavior. Many brands partner with influencers to promote their products as eco-friendly or sustainable. But unfortunately, not all of these endorsements are backed by real environmental responsibility. Often, influencers may not fully understand the sustainability claims they are promoting, and in some cases, they unknowingly contribute to greenwashing by spreading misleading or vague information. A product might be advertised as made with recycled materials, but that doesn't necessarily mean the entire production process is ethical or environmentally friendly. This is why it's crucial for consumers to fact-check sustainability claims rather than taking them at face value. Instead of relying solely on marketing messages or influencer promotions, look for third-party certifications, detailed transparency reports, and independent reviews. If a company makes bold claims about being green, but provides little to no evidence, that's a red flag. On the other hand, some influencers are doing the hard work of educating their audiences on real sustainability practices. They go beyond surface-level claims and focus on systemic change, ethical production, and low-waste living. These influencers often advocate for mindful consumption, encourage followers to ask brands tough questions and promote truly sustainable alternatives. Look for those who provide research-based insights, share well-sourced information, and prioritize long-term environmental impact over trendy, eco-friendly products. By being critical of the information we consume and supporting influencers who value authenticity over marketing gimmicks, we can become more informed and responsible consumers. The power of social media can be a force for real change, but only if we use it wisely. To ensure you're choosing genuinely sustainable products, start by checking the ingredients and materials used. Opt for responsibly sourced, non-toxic components that have a lower environmental impact. Materials like organic cotton, recycled aluminum, and plant-based packaging are strong indicators of a product's commitment to sustainability. Avoid items that contain harmful chemicals, excessive synthetic materials, or ingredients that contribute to deforestation and pollution. Researching the company behind the product is just as important as examining the product itself. Go beyond the label and explore the brand's website, sustainability reports, and commitments. A genuinely eco-conscious company will provide clear, specific goals and transparent results rather than vague, feel-good statements. Companies that prioritize sustainability will openly share their sourcing practices, carbon footprint, and ethical labor policies. Third-party certifications are another crucial factor in determining whether a product is truly sustainable. Certifications like USDA Organic, Fair Trade, and Forest Stewardship Council ensure that products meet strict environmental and ethical standards. These independent verifications help consumers distinguish between genuinely sustainable products and those that merely use greenwashing tactics to appear eco-friendly. Finally, consider the packaging of the product. Excessive plastic packaging, even for an otherwise eco-friendly product, can significantly undermine sustainability efforts. Look for packaging that is recyclable, compostable, or minimal, as reducing waste is a key aspect of environmental responsibility. Thoughtful packaging choices can make a major difference in a product's overall ecological footprint. Now let's talk about responsibility. Companies have a huge role to play in sustainability, but consumers also have power. When we demand transparency, companies are forced to respond. One of the best things you can do is ask questions. If a brand claims to be sustainable, dig deeper. Send them an email or comment on social media asking for more details. If they don't have good answers, it's a sign they might be greenwashing. Supporting companies that are truly ethical is another way to make an impact. When you choose brands that are transparent and take real steps towards sustainability, you send a message that greenwashing isn't enough. And let's not forget about legislation. Governments are starting to crack down on greenwashing with stricter advertising rules and legal action. In the EU, for example, certain misleading eco-labels are now banned. Some U.S. states are also introducing laws requiring clearer labeling for environmental claims. The more we support these policies, the less room companies have to deceive consumers. As awareness of greenwashing grows, governments and regulatory bodies around the world are stepping up efforts to crack down on misleading environmental claims. Stricter advertising regulations, consumer protection laws, and legal actions against deceptive brands are becoming more common. For example, the European Union has proposed stricter rules requiring companies to provide scientific evidence for sustainability claims, while the U.S. Federal Trade Commission is updating its green guides to clarify what constitutes false environmental advertising. Lawsuits against major corporations for misleading, eco-friendly branding are also increasing, setting legal precedents that discourage deceptive marketing. Some countries and organizations are leading the way in promoting transparency and accountability. The United Kingdom's Competition and Markets Authority has taken action against companies that falsely claim their products are carbon neutral without credible proof. Meanwhile, non-profit watchdogs like the Environmental Working Group and the Rainforest Alliance help set higher standards for sustainability labeling. Certifications such as B Corp, Cradle to Cradle, and Fair Trade are also pushing businesses toward genuine environmental responsibility. Consumers play a crucial role in advocating for stronger regulations and corporate accountability by staying informed, supporting companies that prioritize transparency, and reporting misleading claims to consumer protection agencies. Individuals can help drive real change. Signing petitions, voting for policies that promote corporate responsibility, and demanding clearer product labeling are all ways to push for stricter greenwashing regulations. The more consumers demand authenticity, the more pressure businesses will face to back up their claims with real, measurable actions. While buying truly sustainable products is important, the most eco-friendly choice is often to buy less in the first place. Instead of constantly seeking out new green products, consider ways to extend the life of what you already own. Repairing items rather than replacing them can significantly reduce waste and resource consumption, whether it's mending clothes, fixing appliances, or refurbishing furniture. Small repairs can add years to a product's lifespan and prevent unnecessary waste. Reusing is another key strategy for reducing environmental impact. Instead of discarding items, find creative ways to repurpose them. Glass jars can be used for storage. Old clothing can be turned into rags, and many household items can serve multiple purposes with a little creativity. Buying secondhand is another powerful way to minimize waste. Thrift stores, online marketplaces, and community swaps offer great opportunities to give pre-owned items a second life, reducing the demand for new production and conserving valuable resources. Adopting a low-waste lifestyle can also make a significant difference. Choosing refillable, compostable, and durable items over disposable ones helps cut down on pollution and landfill waste. Investing in high-quality, long-lasting products rather than cheaply made, short-lived alternatives reduces both consumption and environmental harm. Ultimately, embracing a circular economy mindset where materials are continuously reused, repurposed, and recycled leads to a more sustainable lifestyle than simply switching to eco-friendly products. True sustainability isn't just about what we buy, but how we think about consumption as a whole. So, what can you do starting today? Be a conscious consumer, question green claims, research the brands you support, and prioritize transparency over flashy marketing. And don't forget to share this knowledge with others. Spreading awareness helps build a culture of accountability. If you enjoyed this episode and want to support the work we're doing, consider joining us on Patreon at patreon.com/Green Earth Essentials. Your support helps us continue bringing you in-depth sustainability content and practical solutions for a greener world. Thanks for listening to Green Earth Essentials. Until next time, stay curious, stay mindful, and keep making small changes that add up to a big impact. This is Michelle Jackson, signing off.